Hello AB 3341, this is Robert Capote, and on my video today I have with me Richard Miranda, and he will be representing the Graham Farms, and I will be representing Triple C Cattle Company. I will be using a direct communication style, keeping up with the facts and moving forward with the lease agreement and trying to make a deal with the Graham Company and being able to have our agribusiness on their properties. And I will be steering away from any hot buttons, which can include steering away from the factual information and trying to stick on topic and try to make this a successful meeting. Hope you enjoy. Mr. Wiley, good morning. How are you?
I'm well, Robert. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Have you read over my proposal that I sent to you?
I have. We took a look at your proposal. Everything looks good. Of course, I have a few questions, and I'd like to hear a little bit more about it, if you don't mind.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am a graduate from Turner Technical Arts High School here in Miami, and where I went to an agri-science program. My father and I have been in the cattle industry ever since I was born. And through this time of being able to go to school and practice in the ag industry and everything, I have established and being able to expand my horizons in trying to build an agribusiness in an urban area. So within the past 10 years, we have formed this company, Triple C, and started grazing cattle and raising cattle in sort of a mini feedlot operation in the urban area, taking advantage of all the byproducts that come from the city. There's a juice plant north of town that provides us with citrus pulp, and there's a bagel company outside of town here also that does bagels and exports them all over the country, and we get a lot of bakery waste and we get a lot of citrus pulp, and that's great feed, free of charge, and it's very profitable for our industry and for what we're doing here. So after that, I am, just continued into my process here, and I've had a rapport with some of my some of the property owners here in town where we have made lease agreements with them in the past, but now we see this piece of property that you guys have to offer there, that there's really nothing being used there, and I can just see, potential with using it. So have I answered that question for you?
Well, yes. I got to tell you, Robert, when we received your proposal, I do all my homework. We've been in business a lot of years. It's not my first rodeo, so we did a little bit of background on your company, and I found your website, and it looks great, but I couldn't find too much on the history of the company. I mean, are you guys a dairy operation? Are you a beef operation? I'm just not. I wasn't able to find as much as I would like to make me comfortable really going into business with somebody. So, who is Triple C Cattle?
Okay, Triple C Cattle, we have started this business operating in a feeder cattle style for beef cattle. So what we do is that we purchase calves that are feeder calves, and we take advantage of these byproduct feeds that are coming from the city, from this urban area, and we're using those feeds to go on ahead and raise these cattle up to marketable value and turn a profit on them. So, Triple C Cattle pretty much started with a small little land lease, and we just continue to expand, building a great rapport with most property owners that we have dealt with here in the Miami area. And some of these property owners that you are very familiar with, like the Lowell Dunn Company that we lease over 200 acres from, the Lowell Dunn Company, we lease their property and we turn a great piece of ground into an agribusiness, ultimately benefiting both parties.
Well, thank you. I got to tell you, are you familiar with with GRO Cattle?
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with GRO Cattle. They're actually one of the competitors here. There's not many folks that are raising cattle in an urban area, but he is one of my competitors, and I have nothing but good things to say about it for him. But I mean, at the end of the day, he is a competitor, and but tell me a little bit of your concern about it.
Well, I have no concern. Only to let you know that GRO Cattle made a very similar proposal to us about a month ago, and we're actually going through their paperwork and doing a little bit more research and just a little bit more homework on them. But I got to let you know, we're seriously considering their proposal. And I would just like to hear from you, maybe what would separate you from them? Why would I do business with you versus GRO Cattle?
Well, GRO Cattle, at the end of the day, does provide a service similar to mine. But GRO Cattle, number one, is raising adult cattle, where adult cattle become a little bit more of a liability because these mama cows that get up in age 4 or 5 years old, you got to tamper with them a lot more. You got to put them in the cow pens a lot more. You got to build structures on your property. You have to do certain things with these adult cattle that you don't have to do to feeder calves. Feeder calves, you work them one time, and all we're going to do here at this point is we're going to feed these calves until they get to the point of sell day. And at the point of sell day, we're going to load them back up, and we're going to get them off of the property and bring a new set in. Where Grow Cattle does provide a similar agribusiness on your property. The biggest thing that separates us from them is that Grow Cattle, GRO, is going to provide this service, but on the turnaround of the whole year, they're going to hit you guys with a bill for $25,000, ultimately taking you out of your comfort zone, and they're going to take a year's worth of agribusiness, profiting them, using your property and everything, but then they also want to get paid for that fee because they know ultimately how much you're going to be saving in agricultural exemption. That's what separates us, where we don't charge you a nickel. We just want to be able to, take advantage of that property, be able to profit from it, and have a lease agreement with you guys. That's
interesting that you say take me out of my comfort zone. It's almost like you're sitting in my boardroom, because that is a little bit of a concern. This land that we're talking about here is it's an urban area, and we're in the leasing business. And paying $25,000 to go into business with them is just something that we're not comfortable with. It's just something that we haven't done in the past, and we're not. But
if you give me an opportunity here, I'm not going to take you out of your comfort zone. The Graham Properties provides land leases for all of these businesses, such as restaurants, such as apartment complexes here in the city. And you guys are doing land leases with these folks, still obtaining the ownership of the land, but providing this lease agreement with these landowners, with the building owners, and being able to put up their businesses. But you guys ultimately are still getting a fee for that. So at the end of the day, I can see where GRO Cattle, Grow Cattle, is taking you out of your comfort zone, because you guys are giving this piece of property up. But yet now, you in turn, for them to be on your property, yes, you're going to have a business there that's ultimately going to be benefiting you in the agricultural exemption side, but you guys are paying for this service. Whereas with me, all I'm doing, my services are being paid, quote unquote, so to speak, with your agricultural exemption, and there is not a penny coming from your company to my side. I have enough with the profits coming from my business being on your property that I don't need to charge you any kind of fees for that. Has that answered your question with them?
It does, Robert.
Did you ever see that coming?
I did not. That's an excellent point. But let me ask you something. That sounds it sounds like a very good idea and an amazing business opportunity. But I'm sure you've done your homework on the Graham companies as well. We've been in the cattle business since the 1930s. So outside of the issue of having livestock in an urban area, if it's a great idea and it makes good business sense, why don't I just put my own cattle on my own land? Why would I go to you for this?
Well, you guys are a great company, and you guys do have a successful Angus farm in Georgia, and you guys have a successful dairy farm in Moorhaven, hands down. I've passed them on the roadways, and we've even used a couple of the Graham Angus bulls in the past in our own operation, in Dad's operation pretty much. So you guys do have a great rapport with the ag industry. But exactly what you said. Putting cattle in an urban area is not putting cattle in a rural area, Moorhaven or Georgia. It is a very complex scenario, and it requires a lot of maintenance and a lot of time spent there, because any little mistake could cause a big ruckus in the middle of the city, such as a calf getting out on the road, or complaints from people that the smell, and all of this is you know, things that could just ultimately bring you headaches every day. And, you know, this is not the place for you guys and to have that kind of stress. You guys are doing your land leases for apartment complexes and stuff of this nature, whereas my livelihood is coming from this urban cattle raising and feeding these calves here in the city. So my point in this is, yes, you could ultimately put your cattle on there and have that, but now you're going to have to hire a couple folks to come and maintain these cattle. You're going to have to start bringing feed deliveries in from up north because you guys don't have the feed sources that I have here in town. So you're going to have to start hauling your feed in, and ultimately, I mean, you're just going to have that responsibility of your own stuff. That's not really necessary. I don't know. I mean, I could tell you that in my past experiences, it's going to cut out on your, it's not going to be profitable for you in any which way. It's better to have us just go in there and free you of all liabilities.
All liability.
All liabilities. We carry an insurance policy covering any kind of accident on your properties. We are there day in and day out running these calves, you know, bringing feed in, and there's always going to be somebody, except in the evening time, so of course, that are going to be checking up on these calves, checking fences, you know, always being seen out there. And there's going to be no liability to the Graham Company, and it stipulates that in our lease agreement. So you guys are going to be freed of all this stuff. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we're going to provide a service that is going to attract the community because this is something that's out of the norm. A lot of kids do not know where their food comes from. So, you know, I'm going to thrive on this because I'm going to love being able to talk to people in the middle of the city and having this there. I feel like this is a very good opportunity for the Graham companies to allow us to come in and have this opportunity to be able to, you know, run our feeder calves. And you guys are going to have, you know, a piece of land that now you are no longer going to have to pay for, you know, maintaining it. Because right now you guys have a maintenance company that comes and mows the grass and checks the fences and stuff like that. But it really doesn't do anything. And have you seen our analysis diagram on how much you guys could save on this?
I have. In fact, I have it here, and it is impressive.
Really? Okay. Well, I mean, just the sheer, you know, savings in your tax break there. I mean, it's probably 11% of what you guys are going to be paying at the end of it all. I mean, this is a savings of over $75,000 a year. You know, ultimately, I think this is a very good choice. I think that, you know, with our reputation and our rapport with other companies, I think we could have a successful operation on the Graham properties and ultimately, you know, just be beneficial for your company and beneficial for my company. Has that pretty much answered every one of your questions? And would you like me to proceed with the lease agreement?
I'm looking for reasons to say no, Robert, and I can't find them. Why don't you have the lease agreement sent over to my office and let's do some business?
I sure appreciate it. Will do. Thank you.